everybody, it's me, Ghost Critic. Thank you for joining me in another installment of Digesting Dreams. If you've seen my first video in this series, I am looking at the first issues of all the new titles, the spin-offs that are coming out of this newly created universe that is encapsulated within the Sandman world and all its fantastical elements. And the last issue that came out was a bit of a primer for all the other titles that are coming out, so you had a bit of a snippet of each. This week we see the first issue proper come out, and that's from Cy Spurrier, Ilkus Evely and Matt Lopez. It's The Dreaming, issue number 1. And if this is a portent of things to come for basically all of the titles, then I'm going to be enjoying myself. I think if this had been in my comic book review video proper, this would certainly have been my pick of the week. Huge clue to how much I loved this book. It was incredibly entertaining. Why? Well, I'm about to tell you. I love the opening lines to this book, narrated as is most of the book by our librarian Lucian. And the opening lines go, "Many a tale is born in loss, the loss of a lover, of innocence or liberty, of youth, health or harmony. For all their strange skins, every such story beats to the same haggard heart." And I feel like that kind of encapsulates storytelling pretty much throughout its whole kind of life. So many stories deal with loss of some description, and it's with this loss that has the kind of impetus for the journey any particular story takes. And you kind of conclude with perhaps 3 different conclusions. You find what you lost. You either come to terms with the fact that you've lost and move on, or along the journey of finding what you've lost, you find something new which perhaps is better or leads you to new and wonderful places. And this particular issue sets up the big theme, and I wonder if this is going to continue with this idea of loss. Not least, we have the loss of what appears to be Lucian's mind, our kind of main protagonist librarian, who's kind of trying to deal with the madness that has surrounded the dreaming, with all these cracks opening. The obvious loss of their king, Morpheus, Dream. And there are these elements, one we will talk about with one of the characters, this idea of the loss of identity. This certainly is made known by these kind of humanoid characters that are coming out of the cracks, wherever the other side of these cracks may be. And they are basically these blank humanoid canvases. They don't have a facial expression, they have no clothing on, they appear to be genderless, and they have no thought. You have to tell them what to do, and they will do it exactly as you say it, which probably will cause enough problems if you think about it. It's strange at first, as I was reading this, that Lucian is having such a hard time with our kind of King Dream, Morpheus, nowhere to be found, because he's already been through this, and he, right at the very beginning of the original Sandman series, you have Dream disappeared and Lucy is there trying to keep things together as best he can until his lord and master returns, and it's up to Matthew the Raven, who kind of reminds him of this. And these are the nice touches I like, and if you have read The Sandman, I think you will appreciate these more and pick them out a lot more, because, you know, Matthew reminds him, well, he was gone for 70 years. And of course that's when Dream was captured, right at the very beginning of the original Sandman. So I like those extra little kind of Easter eggs for those of us who have read the original series. It gives us something more to kind of not necessarily get invested in, but feel like you're part of something, you know, a secret of sorts. You know, you're privy to knowledge that perhaps a new reader is not aware of, and they're the ones that are going to have to do all that extra hard work and perhaps read the original series or do a little bit of internet googling searches. I did think it was, they seem to be including, you know, all these Easter eggs and going back to the original series. They seem to be putting new elements into the book as well, because there is this part where we have the Sandman's helm, which is his big mask that goes over his head, and I never remember it really being that much of a useful tool. It was literally a kind of head ornament that made him look a bit scary. But this helm now has new uses. It acts as a kind of communicator, a kind of like a two-way radio of sorts. It supposedly has the ability to look beyond, wherever that beyond might be, throughout the kingdom of Dream. So there are those nice touches. I mean, I've read The Sandman many times, but it has been a while since the last read, to be fair. But I just don't remember the helm having any particular kind of powers or qualities like that. But please feel free to chastise me and tell me, oh Mark, why did you not remember it from this storyline on this page in this panel? Go for it, knock yourselves out. I do have a problem with our female character here, of Dora, and only because I don't know who she is. I don't know what her kind of history is. And I've done some Googling, I've done some internet searching, and perhaps I'm not doing it very well, because I'm finding little to no details about her. I don't remember her being in the original series at all. I wonder if she's come out of one of the spin-offs, perhaps the original series of The Dreaming she was in, which I haven't collected all of. And the way, because I'm getting it in patches, not in like obviously a long big order, so I'm reading it all over the place. I'm not remembering her and why she is, one, so mad at our King Dream, and two, why she is stuck, because she does appear to be stuck in The Dreaming. But this is very much a big part of what this first issue is about, is, I guess, kind of setting her up for new readers and those of us who don't know who she is, because we get introduced to her through one of these blanks, they're calling them, these blank humanoid creatures, humanoids, people that have come out of the cracks. She's kind of rescued one of them. The rest have all been corralled up because they are seen as dangerous to the Dream environment. And she's basically dressed him up and tried to give him an identity. Now she lives in this big tree, because we're in the dreaming. Nobody really lives in a normal home. And there's this strange element of a story where every night she goes to sleep and someone leaves her a gift while she's sleeping. But it seems to be that all these gifts are broken in some way, and it does feel very much like it's a metaphor for her life, for her identity and being. She knows within herself that she is different to everyone in the dreaming, that obviously just by the fact that she sleeps, no one else sleeps in the dreaming, she's the only one that does. However, when she's asleep she doesn't dream. And there's this idea that there's a locked memory within her that's hidden. And she is seen as somewhat of an outcast by the inhabitants of the dreaming. They know that she's different, but I'm guessing it's not until this issue that they realise that she is actually a little bit special as well, because she's not unlike our dream Morpheus, as she's able to very easily move between dreams, and no other inhabitant of the dreaming can do that either. And she takes this blank humanoid character with her going through these dreams, and she's apparently collecting items, and people are not happy, least of all Merv, the pumpkin-headed guy, the kind of caretaker cleaner, and he's just basically had enough. Matthew tries to, have some words with her to say, come on, basically get in line, but she escapes. Yeah, she escapes, and no one knows where, because she's escaped to this land called the Hinterland, which apparently, again, we have this idea of this helm with its new uses. It can see throughout the dreaming, but this is just outside the reach of the helm. We see that there is this other land beyond the dreaming that I guess is adjacent, and it houses demons, and we see that this young girl, well, she has her needs, and they are of the physical demonic persuasion, as we see her having a sexual tryst, shall we call it, with what was the demon's name called now? Balaam. A wonderful depiction. Hopefully you can see that. I'll bring it up a little bit closer. While we're looking at that, obviously the artwork by Bill Evely in this book has been fantastic. It is so fantastical. All the characters are so well realised. It's very difficult not to be immersed into this wonderful world. So they both basically get their rocks off, and this is for Dora, and it shows her kind of detachment from basically anything. This is no more to her than a physical act, fulfilling a need, and in a sense a means to an end, because what she was doing in all those dreams that we saw her flipping through and stealing things from, she then trades with this demon for a piece of kind of, I don't know, mystical or magical fruit, and it's apparently incredibly rare, but the use she has for it, I'm not sure, because it kind of, as she's scoffing it down, despite the fact that the demon's telling this is rare, take it easy, savor it, it seems to bring out this inner demon within her that we saw in the primer title a couple of weeks ago, and whether this fruit is there to basically subdue the demon within her, I don't know. There, Slicebrewer brings in this kind of idea that, okay, so there is this barrier between the dreamland and this hinterland where all the demons are, and Dream has put up these safeguards that the demons can't cross, you know, into the dreaming. But clearly, given he's away, he's lost, he can't be found, these barriers aren't as strong as they normally are, and it allows Balaam to come into the dreaming, and of course all hell breaks loose. But the dreaming is not without its kind of guardians, without its protectors. So we get this fantastic fight with a wyvern, or a wyvern, however you want to pronounce it, and Balaam fully demoned out, which is fantastic. And of course, just in the nick of time, as it seems that Balaam is going to wreak havoc across the dreaming, our guy Dream appears, perhaps, and from the mere presence of this figure looking like Dream, frightens Balaam, and he's off back into his demon realm. Just before we get to the end, we get a little bit more of kind of Dora's spite and hatefulness, as she is not aware of the bluff that's going on here, and she sees Dream and gets angry, and it just seems, not knowing again the history of Dora, but she does seem to be in a kind of very long line of female characters that Morpheus Dream has treated quite badly, either misused or punished, or in some instances rescued, but then just forgotten. They are just left to get on after whatever fantastical thing has happened to them, and basically it's kind of like there's no aftercare in some respects. Of course, this isn't Dream, it's Lucian playing what is a pretty serious bluff, and kind of, I don't really think that's going to work again, but what Lucian does in the guise of Dream is make kind of like, certainly I can't remember whether it was Merv the Pumpkinhead or if it was Matthew, but this idea that these things that are coming out of the cracks, these humanoid characters, they're new elements to the dreaming and may not necessarily be as bad as they all think they are, just because they are kind of unknown entities. But as he explains, you know, the dreaming is where new things are created. New dreams are happening all the time. Why can't these new humanoids become useful within the dreaming? And sets Merv off to kind of train them, learn from them. And we see through this one of the blanks, the one that, as it appears to be, the one that Dora rescued and dressed up, suddenly gets a kind of an inch, I guess, of sentience and an identity. So whether that will seep out into the other humanoids, it's certainly going to be an interesting plot point to watch as the story progresses. I guess the culmination to this is the appearance at the very end of what appears to be a new frame. I spoke about this kind of briefly at the end of the last video. There is this kind of gallery that has these kind of frames in with the sigils, the kind of avatars of the different endless. So, you know, we have death, desire, despair, destiny, delirium, destruction, I think that's it. But while we're talking about new things being created, the blanks, those blank humanoids, we now have this new frame, and looking closely at it, it does seem quite, I don't know, jagged, broken, smashed. And I was just trying to think, well, what could this new endless, this god, this immortal be named? And it was like, could it be damage, doom? Not necessarily, I guess, because of the frame, but deceit, or dysfunction, because everything seemed to be incredibly dysfunctional for a lot of the characters right now. And that's kind of where the book ends, and I loved it. I have to say I loved it. It was an incredibly entertaining read. It threw me right back into the kind of old Vertigo days of yore, where it felt like a Vertigo book. It had that kind of atmosphere of something magical is happening here, and I think if Si Spurrier and Bill Quisevely continue with this this kind of ambiance that they're creating here, they're on to a great winner. I highly recommend you pick this up. I hope the rest of the titles are just as enjoyable as this. We will see. And that, my friends, is my look at The Dreaming issue 1. I hope you enjoyed that. I think Wednesday The House of Whispers comes out, and that is basically a brand new title, a brand new part of the Sandman universe, because the House of Whispers has never been mentioned in a Sandman book before, and we're going to delve into the I guess the art of voodoo and how that plays within our Sandman universe. Looking forward to it, and I hope you are too, because I will do another review separately, and I hope to see you there, which will probably be in about 2 weeks. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment down below if you've read it. Did I miss any little trinkets of information? If you are new to my channel and you want to keep updated to any videos that I put up on my channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and that notification bell. Until next time, thank you again for watching. Bye bye.